Hello students, welcome to all of you Shiksha 360. Today we have to discuss the chapter number 4, that is networking system part 4. This is the last part of the chapter number 4. So in this session we have to discuss some of the important points. So let's start our discussion. First of all, here we have to discuss regarding the radio transmission. What is that? Radio waves basically are easy to generate, can travel long distances. Clear radio waves, first of all, basically they are easy to generate. They can travel long distances and penetrate the buildings easily so that they can widely used for the communication, both for the indoors and the outdoors. Clear? So that they can widely used for the communication, basically both indoors and the outdoors. Radio waves are omnidirectional. So basically, what is the meaning of the omnidirectional? Basically, it means that they can travel in any direction. Meanings they travel in all the direction from the source, so that the transmitter and the receiver do not have to be carefully aligned physically. The properties of the radio waves are frequently dependent. At low frequencies, radio waves passes through the obstacles well. Clear, the properties of the radio waves are frequently dependent. At low frequencies, radio waves pass through the obstacles well, but the power falls off sharply with the distance from the source. At high frequencies, radio waves tend to travel in the straight lines and bounce off the obstacles. They are also absorbed by the rain. Clear? They are also absorbed by the rain. Due to the radio's ability to travel long distances, interference between the users, it is a problem. Clear? Due to the radio's ability to travel to the long distances, interference between the users, it is a problem here. Clear? So that is regarding the radio transmission. Clear how to travel, basically what is the fact at the low frequencies and the high frequencies. Clear, basically low frequency, that is radio waves pass through the obstacles well, but the power falls off sharply with the distance from the source. At the high frequency, radio waves tend to travel in the straight lines and bounce off the obstacles. They are further also absorbed by the rain due to the radio's ability to travel long distances. Interference between the users, it is a problem here. Next one, that is the microwave transmission. Clear, microwave transmission. Above 100 megahertz, the waves travel in a straight line and can therefore be narrowly focused, concentrating all the energy into a small beam. Clear, like into a small beam using a parabolic antenna like a TV dish gives a much higher signal to the noise ratio. But the transmitting and the receiving antennas must be accurately aligned with each other. Clear? So concentrating all the energy into small beams using a parabolic antenna like a TV dish gives a much higher signal to the noise ratio, but the transmitting and the receiving antenna must be accurately aligned with each other. In addition, this directionality allows multiple transmitters line up in a row. Clear? So in addition, basically this directionality allows multiple transmitters line up in a row. Clear? Line up in a row to communicate with the multiple receivers. Clear? To communicate with the multiple receivers in a row without the interference. Since the microwaves basically travel in a straight line, if the towers are too far apart, the earth will get in this way, in its way. Consequently, repeaters are needed periodically. Unlike the radio waves, are lower frequency micro are lower at lower frequencies. Clear? Microwaves do not pass through the buildings well. Like basically radio waves basically pass through the obstacles basically well at the low frequency, but unlike the radio waves at the lower frequency, microwaves basically are not passing. In addition, even though the beam may be well focuses at the transmitter, there is still some divergence in the space. Microwave communication, it is so widely used for the long distance telephone communication, cellular telephones, television distribution, and other users. These are relatively inexpensive. Clear? These are relatively inexpensive. Clear? They are not that much expensive. Now move to the next one, that is hub. Very, very important for the examination point of view. A hub, it is a generic term, general term that is used for a networking device that acts as the central point for the LAN cable. The most basic and popular type of the hubs are the devices that simply connect the cables together and regenerate the data, thereby passing the data from one device to another. Clear? The most basic and the popular type of hub are the devices that simply connect the cables together and regenerate the data. Clear? And regenerate the data, thereby passing from one device to the another. These types of hubs are referred to as the concentrators or repeaters. These are also hubs. There are also hubs that provide additionally functionality, including the bridges, which connect network segment and the routers. Clear? Basically, which connect network segments and the routers, which connect different types of the both local and wide area networks. Clear? Which connect different types of the both local and wide area networks. The functionality of these types of hubs are highly specialized and closely related to the type of the network they are used in. They are typically installed in the very large complex networks. Clear? They are typically installed in the very large complex networks. Next one, that is the bridge. When more devices are connected to the same network, clear? Basically, when more devices are connected to the same network, more collision will happen and therefore the average throughput will go down. One quick solution, it is simply to divide the network up into the separate small networks. Clear? One quick solution, it is simply to divide the network up into the separate smaller networks or the segments. Within each segment, device will continue to communicate with each other. In order to allow the devices on the different segments to communicate with each other, a device called bridge, it is often installed that connect to these networks. Clear? So basically, bridge, basically it is used to connect at the same time of the network. Clear? When more devices are connected to the same network, at that time bridge will be used. Network switches and the routers. There are three main devices that work to connect one computer to the another computer. What are these three main devices? First one, that is the network hub. Second one, that is the switch. Third one, that is the router. Okay, network hub, switch, and the router can all perform this function. It can sometimes be confusing when trying to figure out what device it is currently being used on a computer network without knowing what each device does. Routers and switches are both the computer networking devices that allow one or more computer to be connected to the other computers. Clear? Routers and switches are both computer networking devices that allow one or more computers. Clear? Basically, that allow one or more computer to be connected to the other computers, network devices, or to the other networks. The functions of a router, switch, and the hub, and all are to be different, even if at times they are integrated into a single device. Clear? The functions of a router, switch, and the hub, and all are to be different, even if at the times they are integrated into a single device. Clear? Basically, their functions are different. Either they are attached to a single device or not. Clear? Their functions are to be different because all are to be the different devices. First one, that is here we have to discuss regarding the switches. So switches are basically used to connect the multiple devices on the same network within a same building or the campus. For example, a switch can connect to your computer, printers, and the servers, creating a network of the shared resources. Clear? They are creating a network of the shared resources. The switch, one aspect of your networking basics, would serve as a controller, allowing the various devices to share the information and talk to each other. Clear? The switch, basically one aspect of your networking basics, would serve as a controller, allowing the various devices to share the information and talk to each other. So information sharing and resource allocation, switches save your money and increase the productivity. Clear? So through the information sharing and resource allocation, switches save your money and increase the productivity. There are two basic types of the switches to choose from as part of your networking basis: managed and the unmanaged switches. Clear? An unmanaged switch works out of the box and does not allow you to make the changes. Clear? So what is the unmanaged switch? This is basically an unmanaged switch basically works out of the box and does not allow you to make the changes. Home networking equipment typically includes the unmanaged switches. On the other side, what is managed switch? A managed switch can be accessed and programmed. Clear? A managed switch can be accessed and the program. This capability basically provides greater network flexibility. Clear? So this capability basically provides greater network flexibility because the switch can be monitored and adjusted locally or remotely. Okay. Basically, unmanaged switch basically does not make allowed you to change this. Clear? On the other side, basically the managed switch can be monitored and adjusted locally or remotely. So with the managed switch, you have control over the network traffic and the network access to be here. So for all the CAP related sessions, you can join our special batch, that is Elective IT batch. The special classes will be provided to you for all the subjects to be here, for all the topics under the Elective IT. So next one, that is the routers, jack and patch panels, firewalls, NDS and HIDS, and network-based IPS. Clear? So here, due to some technical issues, I will not continue further. Basically, only three types we have covered here, 3 slides. In the next session, I will cover the rest. Clear? Due to some technical issues, connectivity issue, we will not proceed further. So sorry for the inconvenience.